Welcome back to another interview for Floorball. We've got another incredible woman in the studio. Lauren, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks for coming in. I know the traffic was probably a nightmare, so I appreciate you weathering that storm and getting to the office. So I want to start off by asking very simple, very generic question of who are you?
Well, I'm Lauren. Online sometimes. I'm She Got Sports.
Okay.
So that's my channel.
Love.
I do a lot of football videos, mostly football videos.
All right.
Live streams, all that fun stuff. And yeah, that's what I do.
Okay. So walk me through your relationship with John Boy Media, because you've actually been one of the people that's been here the longest, that's known John Boy Media, been associated with the company the longest, and people probably didn't know that.
Yeah, so I want to say a junior in college, and I saw Jimmy tweeted out, "Oh, we're hiring editing interns," and I was like, "Oh, perfect! This is the kind of place I want to work." Before that, I was interning at Fox Sports, but I was on the morning show, First Things First, so I was getting there at 4 a.m.
I was about to say that,
and then I was going to class,
crazy.
and then so it was a really weird schedule, and that was only first semester. So once that semester ended, I was looking for another internship.
Yeah, and
I saw that, and I was like, "Oh, perfect! Let me apply." And I didn't really know if I would get it because there was a ton of people replying to it, and then I went for an interview. I got an email, and I went for an interview in the Bronx office.
Nice.
In February, I want to say, and then they're like, "Yeah," Jimmy was like, "Yeah, we'd love to have you here. Just sign this thing." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
Which was February 2020.
Yeah, February 2020. I think my first day in the office was the first week of March 2020.
That's
insane. And everything was getting set up. I remember it was Katie, me, BBD.
Yeah.
I think Keith McPherson was there that day. And Jimmy was there. Yeah, I think that was who we were putting I remember the carpet down in the studio.
Oh my God. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
And so fast forward to now, you're part of the Floorball tournament, which we can get into that. But how have you followed John Boy all the way? Have you done stuff over the years for John Boy Media? How has your relationship been up until this point, and how did you get reached out to?
For Floorball or just for
for Floorball.
Oh, well, I would always follow them, after I left, because
you have the relationship.
Yeah, transparently, I literally cried so hard when I Zoomed them and told them I was gonna leave. I remember on the Zoom, because you can see yourself on Zoom, obviously. I had a disgusting snot cry going down.
And what was your reasoning for leaving?
Because it was just been COVID. I finished my senior year of college online. I was home. I saved a lot of money. I was like, if I'm gonna do it, go out on my own. I'm going to do it now, and I'm 21 on my parents' insurance.
Smart.
Yeah, I'm on my parents' insurance, so I'm 26. Still really thinking about that because I don't have my own insurance still. So my parents
Makes sense, man. Right.
You better keep making money so you can afford insurance. They're you don't realize how expensive insurance is going to be once you're 26. That's going to be a huge expense. So I was like, might as well just do it now, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. So that's why I left. Because I was like, well, this is the moment. It was right when I graduated, too. And
so you wanted to capitalize on that. You unfortunately had to step away from your role with John Boy Media. But, I mean, you obviously left on good terms because you've stayed in contact. And you've done stuff over the years. No, it was not a bad thing.
This was the only place I would ever want to work, I would say.
I love that.
It was tough. It was tough to be oh, I'm going to leave, because you realize this is a very special place. And very, very good people. And everyone they've added here.
Oh,
I noticed that Floorball. I'm like, everyone's so nice and so great.
Everyone blends so seamless.
You guys are all I'm just I could be friends with all you guys.
I love it. I love it. Well, you fit in perfectly. It made a lot of sense. Whenever I found out that you had worked with John Boy Media back in 2020, I was like, okay, that makes sense as to why she just so seamlessly fit into the tournament. So let's back up a little bit more. Let's talk about you and sports. Did you grow up playing sports? Did you have any associations as you were growing up?
Yeah, I definitely grew up playing sports. I wanted to be an athlete when I was a kid. My parents were all right.
Pro athlete was a job. Content was second.
It was pro athlete with no specific sport in mind. It was just pro athlete.
Something professional.
Yeah, it was pro. My parents were all right. Why don't you think of a backup there? It's just very clear from a young age. Why don't you think of something else? And I think it was my mom was the one who told me what sports media was, probably when I was in middle school, I want to say. She was like, oh, you could work in sports
and just not play
them. Yeah, just not play them. And I was like, okay, yeah, I guess guess that sounds good. And I grew up, my first favorite team was the Yankees for sure.
Okay.
I went to the old stadium once and I was like, first grade, I want to say.
Okay.
So that's like my cool, like, I'm like, yeah, I actually got to go to the old stadium.
Yeah.
That's like
You
my
checked
cool
that
thing.
box.
I checked that box. And then I just grew up liking sports
Yeah.
ever since. Playing a bunch of sports like softball, lacrosse, soccer. I played for a long time. Ice hockey, not well. Yeah, I think that's it. Horseback riding. I don't know if that counts.
That definitely counts. That
horse
definitely
girl.
Counts. It takes some sort of agility. Yeah, that counts. So what sport was like your, if you were going to go pro in any of those sports, which one was it? Which one was it going to be?
Yo, it probably, there's no sport I was nearly good enough to be it. Maybe softball is probably my best sport. But I remember when I quit lacrosse to do softball, the softball coach, not coach, but like, I went to like a batting cage to work out. She's like, oh, you know, they're giving out a lot of scholarships for lacrosse and you're pretty fast. Like, I think you should have stuck with that. I was like, thanks for telling me now.
Yeah,
like, thanks.
Yeah,
are you trying to tell me I'm bad at this? Like,
yeah. I know whenever I was growing up, my dad really tried to get me into golf when I was about 10. Because he was like, you could really get like a scholarship to college. It was like one lesson. He was like, this is going to ruin our relationship if we continue this. So I never did it again. So I feel that. I feel that on the, you should have told me sooner. So let's now fast forward to what you're doing now, which you were primarily, as you said, focusing on content, football, a lot of football. Why did you want to lean into the avenues that you did? And why did you name your channel what you named it?
Honestly, why I named it that, I don't really know. I was in high school. Like, I named it that when I was...
I like that answer, though. That's like, real. Like, that's
like,
relatable.
It wasn't like a big, like, aha moment. Like, it's this. Like,
it's just like,
if I had to name it now, I probably wouldn't know what... I'd probably name it my name or something because I probably wouldn't have been able to pick a name.
Right.
Like, I'll decide on a name because I'm so indecisive now.
It's like the We Got Ice guys have said the same thing. It's like, what do you name something that you want to be your entire brand?
Exactly.
There's so much weight.
Like, I couldn't even decide where to get coffee this morning. I was like, oh, this. Like,
it's like naming a YouTube channel. That'd be a whole different thing.
And
like,
the reason I really never changed it was because I remember back in the day on YouTube, it was like, I feel like you can still do this, but I think it's changeable now. You could only change your youtube.com/name once.
Yes.
And I put it as She Got Sports. So I was like, all right, now I can't change the name because it will be a different URL. So I was locked in.
We're stuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, all right.
And football, even though like you're a fan of all sports, football is your sport, do you think? Is like
I would say football is the sport I watch the most.
Professional, college, both?
Professional. I watch college too, but I mean, around here is not really.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
I went
true.
to Fordham. They were good at football like 75 years ago.
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
Not really recently.
That
the
makes
football
sense.
field is on a baseball field.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay,
It's like crosses over.
It's so interesting. I grew up in the South, so I went to Tennessee, so an SEC
okay,
school.
Yeah, so you got the
I'm
totally
like,
different
I come up here and I'm like,
yeah.
wait, you guys don't like just block out your entire Saturday for college football?
When I visited my sister, she goes to UNC.
Yeah.
And I went to school like literally in Manhattan. I went to like, you would think I didn't like football from like where I went to school. Like I went to like a totally non-football school.
Right.
UNC like decent football school,
yeah,
right?
Especially
like,
as of late, yeah.
Decent, but not like Bama. It's not an SEC school. The way everything was just packed out for the first game of the season, like just everyone there for football around the town, and I was like, what? Like what? This is like
it's
this
wild.
Is different than it's like totally different than the NFL.
Oh, completely
It's like this
different.
is like a lifestyle. I was like, this is crazy.
At Tennessee, we literally have something called the Vol Navy, which is we have the river that goes right by the stadium, and people will drive their boats and park like by the stadium overnight, and then they all hook up boats.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a floating tailgate.
That's crazy. That's a cool. I never even knew that.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew they had a river there.
There's so many, like, you're right. College football is a complete lifestyle. But getting back to you, would you say that you really, I mean, because she knows sports. You got sports. It's all about you knowing what you're talking about.
Sometimes.
So is it
a few cold takes here and there,
which is fine, I think, and that's, I think, reputable by you. Do you think that you lean into like women and sports and kind of not necessarily zero in and capitalize on that, but you kind of use that as like something that you're proud of like knowing what you're talking about and being confident in what you're talking about and trying to essentially maybe show a younger girl, maybe a younger you, that she could do something like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think you always are going to get a little discredited because you never played football.
Like, yeah.
And
what
that's,
do you know?
When people say like, oh, you never played a snap, like that's honestly at times a fair criticism. Like, I never did play a snap. Like,
right.
That's totally valid.
Yeah.
But I bet you there are some people who did play football at maybe any time, that I maybe know more than. But there's definitely people that know more than me. I don't try to seem like I know everything. I'm still just like a fan. I didn't ever play football. I didn't ever coach football. Obviously, I'd probably get wrecked. Like, if I'm making a reaction video and I'm reacting to the game, I'm like, oh my God, tackle. They're like, well, why is she asking him to tackle? Why wasn't she tackle? I'm like, yeah, because.
Huh? Yeah.
Say hi.
We'll get to your teammate here in a second. But no, I think that's fair. I think it's a really smart spot for you to be in. Just more so like knowing what you know, but accepting that there's always more to learn.
Exactly. Like, for football, there's always more to learn. Like, there really is. It's such like a complex sport. There is always, like, I'm never gonna be like, I know all this. But like, when people would be like, why are you saying, like, tell them to tackle, why don't you try to tackle them? Like, obviously I'm not gonna be able to tackle a 250-pound man.
No.
Like, let's hope not. Like,
no, like that I would be concerned for him and maybe for you, like both equally.
Like, it's not gonna, that's not gonna, like, obviously when people say that's like, why don't you try? I'm like, obviously I'm not gonna try. Like, obviously I'm probably gonna end up concussed.
Yeah, seriously injured if not, physically and mentally. So last thing on this, what is your end goal for your channel and career? And maybe you don't have anything specific, but maybe it's something that you want to reach or you want to hit, or a dream that you have in this regard.
Well, I think the closest one is we're almost at 100K. So
that's
like,
sick.
I think like we're at
you'll get your something.
Plaque. Yeah, like I think within maybe the month it seems like it's gonna happen. So that's like an immediate one where I'm pretty excited.
Yeah. Because
like when you first start doing YouTube, you're like, oh yeah, look at like 100K. It always seemed like a big, like the triple digit. 6 digits actually.
Yeah.
Triple digits. 6 digits seems always like a big milestone. But after that, I think just continuing to grow it. I want to grow more channels too. Because I really do love doing YouTube. Like, I love sports, but I also just love like the process of doing YouTube.
Platform.
And I like the platform, and I like just studying why videos do well and why videos don't do well. And it's almost like a game. You just have to try to figure out, okay, if I fix this little bit and tinker with this and tinker with the title in this way, I can get this many views, or I can get this to, get more views, and I can raise the click-through rate. Like, I love that process of it.
Yeah. So
just continuing to do that, even if it's not sports at points, like I just want to make a lot of YouTube channels and grow this She Got Sports channel, because that's what I work on like every day of my life. Just as big as I can get it.
I love that. So let's shift our focus to the reason why you're here. So you were part of our upcoming JM Warehouse Floorball tournament. You were one of 6 women in the tournament, which is awesome. We had never had a woman on each team, and you were part of the new franchise. So walk me through getting invited and your first impression of the warehouse and all of those things.
Yeah, so I'd seen Blitzball online.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever watched like the full video of like how the Blitzball game works, but I've always seen clips on social and stuff. And then when I got invited, I was like, yeah, totally. Like, I love to play games. Like, any game, like, I'm there. Like, you want to play, like, a board game? You want to play Jenga? You want to play basketball, whatever, even though I'm so bad at basketball? Like, I'm there to, like, have a competitive time.
You're
like,
going to have the most
like,
competitive edge.
I will play, like, I just want to play games with anyone. Like, anyone ever wants to play a game with me, just, like, come over. Like, we'll play, like, Monopoly.
It's like tic-tac-toe. I'm going to take you down.
Like, yeah, like, I just love to play games. So I'm like, oh, my God, an organized game with a lot of people. Like, this is it. Like,
and on camera, content,
content, like, everything. I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. And then before I was like, oh, should I, like, practice, like, floorball? I actually looked at, like, floorball sticks on Amazon. I was like, I don't want to be, like, underprepared here. And I was like, you know what, like, I don't have time to do this. Like, whatever, just show up. But once I got to the warehouse, I was like, holy shit, this is so big.
So big.
I was like, what?
It's a whole thing.
It's huge.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a complex.
It's like a full-blown, and we just built an indoor floorball, like, ring.
I was like, this is legit. Like, I'm never getting this experience again.
No. And
unless you guys want to have me back next year.
So your 3 teammates, walk me through your thoughts on every single one of them.
Okay, so I knew Luke O'Brien from before. Actually, I knew him from when I worked here. So I knew him, familiar with him. I knew Jimmy grew up playing hockey, so I figured Luke grew up playing hockey. So I was like, all right, that's good. For our team. And then Lucas I never met before, but I was like, all right, we got a Luke and a Lucas.
Perfect.
And then Corwin, he was I think the last to get there.
Yeah.
And we were all talking. We were like, oh, he's like the hockey player of the group. Like, he's like the guy. He's
Real
going to be
good.
like the leader. Like, he's going to be the guy. And I was like, all right, that's good. Because, like, I don't.
Needed it.
I don't do the hockey.
And WOOGAS, first time we've seen WOOGAS as a franchise, and it's a new franchise continuing. We can't give away any spoilers because these are going to come out the week before game 1. But overall, like, what did you think of the competitive level? Like, what did you think about the other teams? Like, just the level of, like, actual play.
Oh, so we were the last to play week 1? I mean, game 1, am I allowed to say that?
Last to play.
Like,
yeah,
like,
fine.
it wasn't, like, anything to do with standing. Just
No.
on the first day schedule, we were the last team scheduled to
Yeah.
play. So we watched the first 2 games, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so intense. Once everyone started running around, I was
It's,
like
going so fast.
It's going fast, and I'm, like, so into it. I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, it's, like, really, like, okay. Like, so then I was really nervous. I was like, okay, now I'm kind of nervous to go out there and play. But once I got out there, it just, you're just playing.
I will say, y'all's team did have a lot of team chemistry. Just, like, right off the bat, it felt very seamless for you 3 or you 4. And then Lucas in the goal.
It was really fun. You feel like a kid when you're out there.
And your theme song, the goal song was honestly one of the best, I think.
Yeah, I think it fit perfectly.
It did. It fit really well.
I said a pretty good one too.
Yeah, the fact that Jack Doyle was like legit rapping. Yeah, I think that was filmed in here, if I'm being completely honest. So my favorite part, and I've said this, I've done a few of these interviews. My favorite part is that it felt like each woman on the team was the most competitive on the floor. Like the only one that I didn't know if she was outwardly competitive, but I felt like internally she was on fire for the game was Chelsea. But it did feel as if
I knew you were gonna say that.
Like,
I knew that name was coming.
Well, because she's just like calm, cool, collected, and like doing like a freaking hat trick. I'm like, what is going on? And then we have like we have Reagan, we have Sarah. Like everyone felt like the women were the most competitive out there, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess so. I remember like just whenever I would go against a woman singular. We would always not be afraid to get a little physical with each other. I guess because you're like, yeah, like it's girls, equal playing field here to like give each other a bump.
Yeah, like I just remember like I don't know which game it was in particular, but like I remember like watching you at one point, and I was watching Reagan at one point, and even Sam. I was like, okay, someone's gonna get punched, and this is gonna be like great content, like because you got. And the best part was like in game you're like ready to kill someone, and then post game you're like, yo, you want to go get lunch?
You want to get in the ice tub with me?
Yeah, perfect. No, I loved it. So overall, like, what was your experience of the entire tournament? How would you describe just being a part of this and being one of like the first women to represent WOOGAS?
When like my parents or friends, asked me, oh, how was the weekend, whatever, I was like, you know what? It was kind of weird because you're there for 72 hours?
Something like that,
3 days?
Yeah.
And I felt like I would just go there and then come back and then come back. And it was almost like that was like reality, know, for 3 days. Yeah. That's like your reality. It's like I felt like I was on one of those game shows. Yeah, like I was so tired when I would get home.
Yeah.
From running around all day. I'd literally just eat, go to bed, and I wake up and I go back.
Yeah.
So you're so into it because that's like your reality for 72 hours. That's all you're doing. So
it's true.
It makes you care about it that much more. I'd be like, oh, I really care about winning this. Like,
you have to win.
Like this is like all I'm doing for these 3 straight days, and I wasn't really, like phone call here and there, but I wasn't like going out and hanging out with people really because I was too tired.
No, yeah, you don't sleep. Yeah, that's, people forget like
it's tiring.
Yeah, it's tiring. It's exhausting. It was hot.
Yeah.
It was really hot, and it's also like when you tell someone, yeah, I'm gonna go play this game in a warehouse. People are like, oh, haha, good funny bit. But when you're in there and you're invested, and it is your reality for 3 days. It is nearly impossible to not be wholeheartedly invested in wanting to win, pulling for your team, and just like, I mean, I'm on the sideline, supposed to be like a calm, cool, collected sideline reporter, and I'm losing my shit. Yeah. I'm like losing it. And I'm like, you can't explain it until you experience it.
Exactly. Like, you just think, oh, just, you know, adults playing a kid's game. But it's like, no. This is like everything for 3 days. This is all you do. Eat, sleep, drink floorball. Like, that was really it.
Yeah, that was really it. So, are you going to come back? Would you want to come back?
Yeah. I definitely would. I'll play any game you guys have.
I was about to ask, would there be what is one of our, because we have ball and play, which is cricket, we have blitzball, we have floorball, and then we're actually currently coming up with another game, which I can tell you off camera. But what is, out of the 3 that people are most used to seeing, what would you want to play in again, or for the first time?
I would do floorball again, of course, because I think having like a team like that's like a big team. I think the floorball has the biggest teams, right?
Yep.
So I think having the big team is fun.
Ball and play also has 4, but it's a little bit different. It's not as everyone running around all at the same time.
I would try ball and play because that's like cricket, but I'm also not super familiar with it. But
I think you'd be pretty good at it.
It's a lot of running back and forth, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit more contained, but it's more so a lot of strategy.
I think I'd like that, and also blitzball. But the thing with blitzball is, those pitches, I don't know about that.
Like some of those pitches, they like start here and they're like, shoo, and then they're back
that's
up
where I was like,
what?
I don't know if I'd bring anything to blitzball. I could play the field, but
so maybe ball and play.
Yeah, ball and play out definitely. It seems fun.
Okay, so
or any of them, because again, any game, I'm there. Any game,
board game, real game, online game, tic-tac-toe game, doesn't matter. You're there, and you're gonna show out and show up. Well, thank you so much for coming in and doing this interview. I'm really excited for people to be introduced to you again, or if no one knows who you are, they're introduced to you now on the JM Warehouse channel. So thanks for coming in. And we got another interview coming tomorrow.